You want more Genshin Impact OST reaction videos? Well, you're gonna get them. Today we're listening to Vimara Village Day and Night. I've not played through Sumeru yet. I'm still in Liyue, unless you're watching this 5 years into the future, but why would you be? Anyway, here we go, Vimara Village Day. That's cute. That's not a soundscape I was expecting to hear in Sumeru, in Genshin Impact. I like Genshin music because it's predictable. Even though it's wholly unique, each piece is unique. It follows standard structural patterns of music that make it really singable, make it very cantabile, and it makes it there's an elegance and peace to the music, even if it's when it's an intense piece. In the case of Vimara Village, this reminds me so much of Italian songs that I've sung. Che bella cosa una giornata sole, oh sole mio, sta in fronte a te, oh sole mio, sta in fronte a te, sta in fronte a te. O Sole Mio by Eduardo de Capua. Fantastic. It sounds like that. This is a place full of peace, serenity. It's a nice place to visit. You feel warm, you feel enthusiastic, you feel a sense of joy when you enter into Vimara Village. You feel like things are good here. You feel like there's a sense of peace here. You walk in, everyone's friendly. There's an outgoingness about this music that's very gentle on the soul. It's gentle on the spirit. It feels lovely. It feels fun to listen to. It doesn't rock you out of your socks or anything like that, but it doesn't need to. It's a place of serenity and tranquility and for reflection. You know, it's really beautiful. Let's keep going. And then we have that Sumeru influence there, that musical influence, this very, Indian soundscape, I guess. There's again, this is a whole world of music and instrumentation that I'm not familiar with. I preface that every time I make one of these videos, just because I'm learning as I go. It's incredible how we have this second section that starts off with that flute very lightly, and then we shift into that hand drum that really gives us that sense of like, yes, we're in a place full of lushness and richness that really comes across. I love that. I love that we've got those, again, traditional instruments combined with classical orchestral sounds that we are familiar with to our ear. It allows us to better, I think, appreciate sometimes when we have something new with something old, something familiar with something new. It allows us to better ingratiate ourselves into a new soundscape. Sometimes it can be a little bit jarring when you go from something that you know to then something new. And sometimes I remember the first time I listened to an opera, Ariadne auf Naxos, which is one of my favorite operas now, but the first time I heard it, I was so used to Puccini, Verdi, Massenet, these French composers and whatever, to then when I was finally exposed to Ariadne auf Naxos and Richard Strauss and that soundscape, which is very jarring, I was taken aback, and I was like, I don't want to listen to that. And the more I spent time with that, the more that I started to really let it wash over me, and I really became now a huge fan of Richard Strauss. But before that, I was a little bit against it. Not to say that anybody's ever been against the Sumero music or this soundscape, but it can be interesting using things that we understand, like classical Western orchestral sound, to then allow some of those traditional instruments to come in and really fill our souls and fill our hearts with the beauty of these instruments. Let's listen to Night. What a stark difference. What a shockingly beautiful difference. There we have a sense of music that is very peaceful, somber, reflective. It's very internalized. Per usual, night themes, as we heard in Port Ormos. You can watch that video here, by the way, if you haven't checked it out yet. There is a feeling of, I can finally take a breath. I'm relaxing. I'm in a place that's safe. I'm in a place that fills me with the feeling of home. That's the essence here, even with this simple piano. I love how that ends. That is so... You can see the twinkling stars in the night sky. There's no clouds in the sky, and you just see the stars, and you smell the grass, and you feel the fire on your face. There's a beautiful gentility there that comes across with the same instrumentation that we had during day, but a slower, more thoughtful, contemplative version. That is incredibly refined. That we're using a vibraphone, not xylophone, I don't think, and certainly not a glockenspiel. I think it's a vibraphone. That symbolizes the stars, like I just said. Plus, you've got the harp. This is incredibly, incredibly personal. It's very delicate. It's very introspective, but like in a loving, tender way. Like you feel like you're being embraced by a warm hug here. That is coming across to me very plainly. Really nice touch there with the recap there of the main theme with the piano there at the tail end. Also really beautiful. There's a counter melody there in the bassoons. There's another melody that's playing underneath with the bassoon there. Single bassoon. It's really beautiful. Yeah, these pieces are really refined and they're really majestic and really beautiful. And I mean, the Sumeru music feels very, very advanced. I mean, all the music, Liyue, Inazuma, there's a lot of Inazuma I haven't heard intentionally because I'm actually incredibly excited to play through Inazuma. So I'm saving a lot of it from myself to discover in-game. But there is this refinement that I'm hearing in this music that is really special. And I think that this is just the beginning of the continued evolution of Genshin Impact. And I think it starts both in the music and also how adventurous they are and pushing themselves further with these expansions. I'm really excited. The little glimpses I've seen of Sumeru are really enticing. As always, if you like this, like, subscribe. Feel free to support the channel in the About section if you want to. It certainly helps me, but there's no pressure. Feel free to check out the Port Ormos music here, and I'll talk to you later.